Alright, today we are going to be on journal page number 2. If you remember, on journal page number 1, you were supposed to have your grade sheet, and we'll be adding to that later also. And so if you don't have access to printing, that's perfectly fine. You will just pause this video and you will copy this down into your notes, just as it is. You don't want to write too big because we are going to do practicing below it and to the left. You need to make sure you write everything down exactly as it is, because when we have a journal test, you're going to want to have access to those answers because you get to use the journal on your test. Alright, so we're going to be looking at fractions and decimals. Okay, if you have access to print this out and glue it, you may, but if not, that's okay. Just write it down. Fractions and decimals is the title. Values can be represented in several ways. For example, a fraction can also be represented as a decimal, or vice versa. If you need to pause the video now to write down that sentence, go ahead and write it down. I would not skip or abbreviate too much because you want things to be word for word like the rest of everyone else's journals. Alright? To convert a fraction to a decimal, divide the numerator which is our top number, by the denominator. The bottom number. If you need to pause the video at this time so that you can get this down, you may go ahead and do that at this time. So hopefully you've paused to get down that sentence and now you're pushing play. To convert a decimal to a fraction, put the decimal over 1 and multiply the numerator and the denominator by 10 until there is no longer a decimal in the numerator. Then simplify your fraction. If you need to pause at this point to write down this, go ahead and pause and push play when you're ready. Alright, this time you should have this done, so let's continue. We're going to look at the two types of decimals. If a fraction converts into a decimal, that is eventually stops. And I want you, when you write this, to box the word stops. We'll call it a terminating. Terminating decimal. If you need to pause at this time, go ahead. I want to reiterate, you need to have every single word written down as it is, including what I boxed. So pause and push play when you're ready. Otherwise, if a fraction converts into a decimal with a repeating block, we'll call it a repeating decimal. Alright, so this time if you need to pause, then go ahead and pause this video. Alright, so by now you should have already pushed play, and you should have all of that down, and we're going to look at some examples. So we're going to start with 3/8. So under this, I'm going to scoop my, so you can see that took up half of that first side. So I'm going to start with 3/8. Now there's a little trick that I use that helps some people. And so maybe this will help some of you. Think of this as a man riding on a horse. Alright? The man rides on top of a horse, so he's on top. And when he gets to his house, the man can go inside, but this horse has to stay outside. 8 cannot go into 3, so I'm going to add a decimal at the top, a decimal at the bottom. Add a 0. 8 can go into 30 3 times. 3 times 8, 24. Subtract. And I'm going to keep doing this till either I see a pattern or until my number stops. 8 goes into 60 7 times. 7 times 8 is 56. Subtract. Add another 0, bring it down. 8 goes into 40 5 times. 5 times 8 is 40. I have no more to go in. So 3/8 equaled 0.375. And now we decide, is that a terminating or a repeating? Did it come to a stop or did it keep on going? And it came to a stop, so it is terminating. Alright, and I'm going to put a box around that. If you want to do squiggly, if you're someone who likes to make it look pretty, that's fine. I don't really care. Alright, let's do another one. I'm going to switch colors just so they don't blend together. So let's look at 4/9. 4/9. So the man rides on the horse. When he gets home, the man goes inside. The horse stays outside. 9 goes into 4. Can't do it, so I'm adding decimals and a 0. 9 goes into 40 4 times. 4 times 9 is 36. Subtract. 9 goes into 40 4 times. 36. If I see that I'm going to keep getting this 40 and 36, 40 and 36, 40 and 36, I can stop. Because I know that that's just going to keep going on and on. So we represent that, so I'm going to write 4/9 equals, we represent it by doing 0.4 with a line over it. Now I can do 0.44 if I want to and put the line over both 4s, that's fine. But that's what we call a repeating. It repeats a certain block. And so we're going to call it a repeating decimal. Look at another one. So I'm going to do 13/4. Now this is a unique fraction because it is top-heavy, and a top-heavy fraction is called improper. Improper. I-M-P-R-O-P-E-R. So I'm still going to do man and horse. Man goes inside while horse stays outside. Now, because it's improper, my 4 gets to go in. So 4 goes into 13 3 times. Add a decimal. Add a 0. Bring it down. 4 goes into 10 twice. Subtract. 4 goes into 25 times, and I'm done. So 13/4 equal 3.25, and then it's stopped. So it is terminating. You need to pause to get this stuff written down. That's fine. Alright, I want you to try this one by yourself. So I want you to pause the video. And I want you to push play when you have already tried it by yourself. Alright? When you push play, I'm going to have the answer posted for you. So go ahead and pause the video now. And then push play when you're ready. So hopefully you attempted this and you got that 1/6, and you got 0.166, and some of you might have even gone out longer and found the 6's. So it's going to be 0.16, but only the 6 is repeating, so I only want that line over that 6. I don't want it over the 1. If I put it over the 1, then it's going to be 0.16161616, and so forth. All right, we're going to try some more on our own. So I'm going to put some of them on the screen. These are going to go on the left side of page 2. So literally I'm going to just slide my journal over like this. And I want you to try these on your own. And when you're done with all of them, unpause the video and see if you did them correctly. All right, these are the 2 that you're going to try. Tell me what they are as a decimal. And then I want you to tell me if they're terminating or repeating. And once you've solved them both, I want you to unpause the video to see if you did them correctly. All right, so 1/16 was 0.0625, which is terminating. And 7/9 was 0.7 repeating, and it is repeating. All right, so if you need a pause to get the correct answers down, you may. I'm going to go ahead and look at doing some decimals. Now, there's 2 ways to do the decimals. So we're going to look at the first way, which was sticking it over 1. So I'm going to put 0.35 over 1. And we're going to multiply this times 10 until there's no decimal at the top. So times 10. So now it is 3.5 over 10. Still have a decimal, so multiply it times 10 over 10 to get 35 over 100. And we'll simplify it in just a minute. The other way to do it is to say it. All right? So if you know your place values well enough, then you can do it this way. That is 35, and this is my tenths, hundredths, so hundredths. So the other way is to actually just say it. But I do know some of you struggle with knowing your place value. So now let's simplify. To simplify, we're going to divide by something that can go into both of those. So I can see that 5 goes into both. So I'm going to divide the top and the bottom both by 5. 35 divided by 5 is 7. 100 divided by 5 is 20. And nothing can go into 7 and 20. So 7/20 is what 0.35 equals. Let's look at 0.4. So let's do it the way over 1 first. So 0.4 over 1. Multiply it times 10. This becomes 4 over 10. So 4/10. I can also just say it. 4, then its place value. Place value is tenths. Let's simplify. 2 goes into both of those very nicely. So 2/5 is my simplified fraction. Now I'm going to give you one to try by yourself. If you need to pause the video so you can look at both of those and get them down, that's fine. But I'm going to give you some to try on your own. So let's do 46, and let's do 0.825. Now I want you to do it both ways. I want you to do it over 1, and then I want you to do it saying its place value. And both of them I want you to simplify. When you have both of them done, go ahead and unpause the video to check your answers. So 0.46 was 23 over 50. And you'll notice that this one took me a while to get there. I kept multiplying times 10. But then it took me a while to simplify because I kept doing it by 5s. In reality, we could have done it just by 75, but I don't think I would have recognized the 75 at first. But 25, so maybe you started with 25. But no matter what, it should have taken you either dividing by 75, dividing by 25, then a 5, or dividing by 5 3 times. All right, there's one more example I want to look at. We'll look at it together. And it's what happens when I have a mixed number. And so let's say that I have 4.3. All right, so I'm going to start by sticking it over 1. 4.3 over 1. Well, I still have a decimal, so I'm going to multiply it times 10. Multiplying times 10 just moves your decimal 1 spot. And there we go. It's 43/10. If I want to take it a step further, I can then say 10 goes into 43 4 times with 3 pieces left over and still out of 10.